Bob Maloney from MyMMAnews.com, and I am talking to my man Lucas Larue tonight. I am so happy for Lucas. I got to watch him hone his skills up here in the Northeast in Pennsylvania, and I was always a fan of his. And a couple of years ago, he relocated to Florida to chase his dream. And like I said, I'm excited for him. He's making his pro debut coming up this week. Lucas, man, great to see you. Congrats on going pro. How you feeling? It's got to be an overwhelming feeling for you because, like I said, you've been working at this for a long time with this goal in mind. You took your time. You did it right. 26 years old. How you feeling, brother?
Feeling really good, Bob. It's good to talk to you again. It's crazy to have like a full circle moment, knowing that like you've really known about my martial arts journey since my first amateur fight. I think like 2300 arena time back for like USKA. As an amateur doing kickboxing and stuff like that, and now it's really been almost 7 years to the day, and I'm about to make my pro debut. Something I've been working on, and it's been a dream I've been chasing for a long time. So it's really exciting, and I'm locked in. We're about less than 2 weeks out. It'll be on the 29th. So this has been an awesome camp, and I can't wait. I can't wait to actually finally get to fulfill this dream of being a professional athlete and being a pro fighter. I've spent the last 7 years like with this as my goal. I've treated it like a profession for that long, so it doesn't feel different than any other fight, but it does. It's a little bit different, but at the same time, it's just grinding out these camps and getting better.
Well, listen, when you went to Florida, we talked about it before. It was like, you went like kind of on a whim. You stayed at a friend's place with this in mind. I mean, it's got to be an even more special feeling knowing, because listen, you moved to Florida, you got a job at a gym. Now you're a big part of the gym. You're helping them build. How's that feel? Because like I said, you went down there with like, with the plan, but with like no connections, and now you're doing fantastic. You got a great gym that loves you, a great teammate. Tell me a little bit about the gym and how life is right now, because it's great when you go do something like that. Listen, you took a shot in the dark. You know what? I'm going to go do this, and now you're thriving. Tell me a little bit about school, and you're obviously instructing there now. Tell me a little bit about your daily day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, of course. It's funny actually. I have when you're in the thick of it, you're in the middle of camp. You're not thinking about anything except for winning that day and just consistently getting better and improving. But my coaches have been really vocal about letting me know, you got to take a step back and look at what you've done in the short time that you've been here. You've gotten all these fights in, you've won all these fights, you've created a job for yourself, a profession. I also got engaged this year, so it's been a huge year for me. Coming down here was the best thing I could have ever possibly done. And my day to day is fighting. It's MMA. It's martial arts. That's all I do. All I do is teach people, train, coach, instruct. That is my 9 to 5. It's crazy to think about. When I first moved down here, I packed everything into my car and drove down, knowing a couple people, having a couple friends down here and some family members in distant Florida. But I've really been able to turn this into a career. It's a full-time job for me. I'm very blessed to train at the gym and have found the gym that I found, the Jungle MMA and Fitness with head coach Mike Lee. He has made this the best possible opportunity for me to pursue my dreams. Every day I'm in the gym, whether I'm coaching or teaching or training. It's my day-to-day life is just at a gym, and I've had countless shitty day jobs and go nowhere jobs that were just kind of to aid and help me get the money to be able to do this. And now I wake up, it's crazy to think, but I don't feel like I have a job, like a different job. I just do what I want to do every day, and it's been an awesome feeling, man. It really has.
I know, it's great. I mean, last time we talked, like you said you were delivering pizzas or doing something, and I'm just so happy for you that you found a great place, and you're helping them. Listen, you're helping them build it too. I'm sure they appreciate your work ethic and your skills. Some of the things I remember about you is even though it was early in your career, you had a lot of you were very calm in there. I loved your footwork, and I thought you had really great technique early on, and obviously you're rounding that out. I know that you started out doing a lot of stand-up. Talk to me a little bit about your jiu-jitsu training, who you train with jiu-jitsu there. Tell me a little bit about your ground game, because I haven't gotten to see you do much ground stuff. Obviously, you're working on it. Tell me a little bit
Hmm.
about your jiu-jitsu training over there.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So, really, I do think that that's part of my game that is just has really caught up to everything else. I started both at the same time, but coming down here, our gym, I think, as far as like cage work, cage pressure, wrestling, those types of things, it's a very staple thing with our whole team. From the bottom up, everybody has that base, and it really helps bring up every other part of your game. My last loss was over 2 years now, but I went and fought for CFFC. Ended up fighting a guy who's a killer in his own right. You're familiar with him, but Itzo Babaladze trains with Sean Brady and all those guys. But he was an amazing wrestler. I felt like I had a very good first round where I had the clean win in the first round, and then the second 2 rounds he was able to get me down and I couldn't get up. And that's like that was the click where I was like, all right, well, now we've got to wrestle. So from then on, my skill set has just gotten to such a lethal perspective where I really don't feel like I have a bad part of my game, whether I'm on my back, whether I'm wrestling, cage pressure, or in the striking. So it makes me a very dangerous opponent to go against because I don't think about it like I have to get it to the ground or I have to keep it on the feet. It's just where the fight goes. I'm going to try to inflict as much violence as I possibly can and try to make it uncomfortable for the guy that's in there and try to, end the fight and make it exciting.
Well, speaking of the fight, tell me a little bit about your opponent. Who is he? Tell me if you know anything about him and how you're looking at this fight.
Yeah, another pro debuter. We have very similar amount of fights. I think he had 6 AMI MMA fights, and I had 5 AMI MMA fights, plus my kickboxing and Muay Thai background and stuff like that. So experience-wise, in terms of competition, is pretty similar. I think that I have an edge everywhere with this guy. All due respect to him, I'm sure he's a game opponent, but I don't look too far into his fights and anything that he is. I watch film, I take away the parts that I need to, and then just kind of formulate the game plan and stuff around that. But at the end of the day, he's just the guy that's standing between me and 1-0, and like the thing that I've been working for 7 years now as my primary focus in my life to accomplish. So he just ends up being the next guy that's ahead of me. I've always been that way as a fighter. I've had guys drop out literally 30 minutes before fights. I've had fights changed. I've had like, the craziest amount of changes in fights. So I look at it as whoever they decide to put in there, I trust my team. If they tell me I can beat this guy, I know I can beat this guy. And that's kind of how it goes, whether I'm fighting this guy coming up on the 29th or I'm fighting, Usman or somebody at the high level. And that's how I try to see myself. If that guy's coming in the gym, I'm getting rounds with him. I'm training with that guy. I try to bring my level up to that so that when that time does come around, hopefully in the near future, that I'll be ready for it.
Awesome once again, man. My man Lucas Larue, the transplanted from Pennsylvania down to Florida, making his pro debut. He's got a lot of fans and friends up here, I'm sure. Hopefully they'll be watching. I'm sure,
Of course.
I know in that sport, obviously you have built a lot of friendships up in Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of guys rooting for you down there. And get some shout outs, give your fiance's name and some love to, your people who are supporting you and giving you that love and that support to help you try to achieve your goals and get your arms raised.
Of course, man. First and foremost, like my fiance Lauren, she's great, and we're gonna actually have my engagement party the day after, so that'll be a fun weekend, So, uh, my mom is obviously like my number one supporter. You've known that for a long time. She's never missed a fight. She's not gonna miss this one. So,
Julie, shout out to
yeah,
Julie.
yeah. Shout out to Julie, and then my team, man. Like we have a lot of guys that are right on that cusp of going pro or getting their shot. We have 15 guys fighting between my fight and the weekend after. We've been a very active gym, and I think in terms of like guys that are right there that are about to break through into the like amateurs finishing up their amateur career going pro, the next couple of years, it's going to be a fun time to be at our gym, and of course my coaches, Coach Alec, my head striking coach, Coach Mike Lee is my MMA coach. Miles Amos, always my number one training partner. He's been super, super helpful being through here. Coach Drew, couple of sponsors. Eric Pena, my nutritionist, has really like revolutionized how I look at my nutrition and my preparation. Like people joke about it, but like I take this as seriously as you can take it. Like I'm measuring out everything that's going into my body. Everything is like a science, and I try to take. I've been doing that, for the last 3 or 4 fights, and it's really changed the way that my rehydration and weight cut has gone. So I massive thanks to him, and all of my other sponsors and stuff that have helped, pay for camps and stuff in the past. Everything it's been great, man. I feel like I'm just on this wave and trying to take it as far as it will go. So it's exciting times down here. It's also hot as shit. So that's the only thing right now. It's about as hot as it gets down here, but it's still not as bad as the cold. So I'll take the warm weather down here over the PA cold any day.
They call that champ weather. You know what I mean? It's easy to go out
Yeah.
and get a sweat. Makes it easier to cut weight. But listen, once again, man, you got a lot of fans up here, including me, Lucas Larue. Best of luck and best of skills for you in your pro debut. And like I said, I look forward to telling the Lucas Larue story when you're getting into the UFC. I'm still going to be calling you up on Skype, and we're going to be chatting. I'm a fan and a friend. And Lucas Larue, check him out, making his pro debut. Always a pleasure, my man.
Always a pleasure, Bob. Thank you so much, man. You're my day one, of course.